Machiavelli warned men about this mistake 500 years ago, and yet most men still fall for it every single day. Right now, somewhere in your life, the world is breaking you. Maybe it's the boss who keeps passing you over, the relationship where respect disappeared, the social circle where you're invisible. You think hard work and loyalty will fix it. But in truth, strategic ruthlessness does. Machiavelli would call you a slave of fortune, because when you wait for the world to reward fairness, you surrender control. In the next few minutes, you'll learn why the world breaks soft men and how ruthless men bend it around them. Before we go deeper, understand this isn't about manipulation. It's about defense, about awareness, not aggression. Machiavelli wrote The Prince to teach leaders how to survive betrayal and chaos. You're defending your position in a world that plays strategically whether you do or not. Understanding ruthlessness doesn't make you evil. Staying blind to it makes you a target, so no one ever breaks you again. The man watching this right now isn't the same man who'll finish it. Once you see how the game works, you can't unsee it. You'll spot it in every conversation, every negotiation, every power play. You're crossing a threshold from the man who reacts emotionally to the man who responds strategically. Most men never make this shift. They die wondering why the world kept breaking them. But you're different. You're here, and that means you're ready. Comment, strategic, if you're starting to see the game everyone else is playing while pretending they're not. I read every comment. Show me you're paying attention. Here's what breaks most men. They think being reasonable will protect them. You think if you're fair, if you're kind, if you play by the rules, the world will reward you. But look around. The men who succeed aren't waiting for permission. Research from the University of Manchester found that mental toughness, the ability to persist under pressure, is 50% genetic, 50% learned behavior. That means ruthlessness is a trainable skill. But here's the trap. Society programs men to be soft. They tell you to compromise, to be understanding, and while you're busy being agreeable, the world is taking from you your time, your energy, your position. Machiavelli put it bluntly. Men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Translation: people respect strength. They exploit weakness. Your silence is your weapon. But here's where it gets darker. Most men will never realize they're playing a rigged game. They'll keep hoping fairness saves them. It won't. Set up. Picture this. 1997. Apple is 90 days from bankruptcy. Steve Jobs walks into a boardroom. Everyone's panicking. Executives are presenting recovery plans. Minor cuts, small pivots, playing it safe. Conflict. Jobs listens for 10 minutes. Then he stands up. We're cutting 70% of the product line, effective immediately. The room goes silent. Someone says, "Steve, that's ruthless. We'll lose people." Jobs doesn't blink. "We're losing the company. I'd rather lose products than Apple." Emotion. Most men would have hesitated. They would have consulted more, waited for consensus, protected feelings. Jobs didn't. Counter-move. As the fox, he saw the trap, maintaining mediocrity to avoid hard decisions. As the lion, he acted swiftly, decisively, with zero apology. 70% of products are gone. Hundreds fired. Apple survived. 5 years later, most valuable company on earth. Ruthlessness bought him time. Kindness would have killed the company. Write this down. Perception beats merit. Screenshot this if you need to remember it. Type fox and lion. If you understand this dual nature, defensive intelligence and offensive dominance, I want to see who's getting this. So why do men hesitate when ruthlessness is required? Because they misunderstand what ruthlessness actually is. Ruthlessness is not cruelty. It's strategic detachment, the ability to make decisions without emotional interference. Machiavelli wrote in chapter 17 of The Prince, "A prince ought to inspire fear in such a way that, if he does not win love, he avoids hatred." He's not saying, be hated. He's saying, be respected. Here's the psychology. Men who hesitate signal weakness. Your brain is wired to seek approval, avoid conflict. That's your limbic system. Emotional, reactive. But strategic ruthlessness comes from the prefrontal cortex, the part that calculates outcomes, not feelings. A 2025 study found that strategic detachment yields short-term gains, but only works long-term if combined with vision and boundaries. Ruthlessness without strategy is chaos. Ruthlessness with strategy is dominance. Your silence is your weapon. When you detach emotionally, you remove guilt, fear, social approval from the equation. That's why ruthless men seem cold. They're not. They're operating on a different timeline. You're worried about today's feelings. They're positioning for next year's outcome. You used to take people at face value. You believed loyalty was reciprocal by default. You're becoming the man who reads subtext, who watches behavior patterns, who earns loyalty through strength, not gives it through weakness. Old you trusted first, questioned later. New you verifies first, trusts strategically. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. You have 10 seconds to realize how this works before someone uses it on you tomorrow. Setup. Picture this. Monday morning leadership meeting. Your colleague Bob is presenting Q3 results to your boss and the VP. Our team crushed it this quarter, Bob says. We brought in 3 new enterprise clients and increased retention by 18%. Your boss nods. The VP takes notes. Conflict. Here's what Bob didn't say. You led client acquisition. You built the retention framework. Bob attended meetings and sent recap emails. But you weren't in that room, and perception beats reality. Emotion. Most men stay silent. They don't want to look petty. They think their boss knows who did the real work. But silence equals consent in power dynamics. Counter-move. Here's the Machiavellian response. That afternoon, you send this email to your boss. I wanted to give you a detailed breakdown of my contributions to the Q3 wins Bob presented this morning. Attached is the client acquisition framework I designed, the retention analysis I built. Happy to walk you through it in our next one-on-one. Your silence is your weapon, but strategic communication is your shield. Next Monday, your boss mentions your framework in the leadership meeting. Bob says nothing. You just reclaimed your power. Comment, I see it now. If you've been letting people steal credit while you stayed quiet. Let me know if this is clicking. Now let's apply this to relationships. The scenario. She's testing you, canceling plans last minute, flaking, playing push-pull games. Most men's mistake. They tolerate disrespect because they're afraid of losing her. But here's what's really happening. She's measuring your boundaries, and if you don't have ruthless standards, she loses respect. Machiavellian move. Set the boundary immediately. I don't reschedule more than once. If plans change again, we're done. State it calmly. Follow through without explanation. If she flakes again, you walk. No texts, no drama. Let her feel the consequence. She'll reach out. Don't respond immediately. Strategy rewards itself. You're signaling high standards plus scarcity. Most men are abundant with their time. You're not. She now knows you won't tolerate disrespect. The weak approach. Accept every excuse. Keep rescheduling. Watch her respect evaporate. Perception beats merit. She respects the boundary, not the effort. Write this down. Be the fox and the lion. That's the game within the game. 6 months from now, you'll look back at this moment. You'll either be the man who learned these Machiavellian principles and applied them, who defended his position, controlled his reputation, and positioned himself strategically, or you'll be the man who knew the game existed but chose to keep playing fair, while everyone else played to win. Which version of yourself are you building? The old you hoped fairness would be rewarded. The new you understands that strategy rewards itself. And you're the strategist now. Your silence is your weapon. Perception beats merit. Be the fox and the lion. Type, I'm done playing fair, if you're ready to start playing strategically. I want to see who's committed to this shift. Let's bring it back. The world breaks men who are too soft to make hard decisions. Machiavelli saw it. Steve Jobs proved it. Research backs it up. Mental toughness is trainable. Strategic ruthlessness is not cruelty. It's long-game thinking. It's protecting your mission over their comfort. You now have the framework. Workplace. Ruthless standards signal competence. Relationships, ruthless boundaries signal high value. Social hierarchy. Strategic silence beats emotional defense. The psychological advantage you hold now. Most men will never learn this. You're not the old you anymore. You're untouchable. Subscribe if you're done playing the victim and ready to play strategically. Hit the notification bell and comment below which strategy surprised you most. The Steve Jobs moment, the credit theft response, or the relationship boundary. I read every comment. Tell me which tactic you're using on Monday, and if you're becoming the man who can't be broken anymore. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. You're the strategist now. Act like it.